We left off the last video having seen how to publish events with parameters in them. So in the example, we had an author, and whenever we updated the name of the author, we would trigger an event, and the parameters in this event would be the old name and the new name. We then exposed this event using the publish attribute here, and then we added a listener to this event where we said that whenever the name changed, we would print the old and the new name. What we're going to do now is we're going to see how to manipulate these events and create new ones from old ones. We're going to see that we can manage these events very similarly to other just regular objects that we have in F#. And to show you what I mean, let's actually create one right now. I'm going to create a new event called this.name changed to Billy. So we're just going to write it like this. This is going to be the same thing as a name changed event, but we're only going to trigger it in case the name is actually changed to Billy. If you think about how we would do this, we could do it by implementing all these new criteria in the set function. So we could create a check for whether or not the new name is going to be Billy, and if it is, then we could trigger a new event. We could create a name change to Billy event here and sort of expose it similar to what we did in the last video. That would be a lot of code replication and not very elegant. What we can do instead, and where F# really shines when it comes to this, is we can manipulate the events that we already have and create new ones from them using some of the functionality that exists in the language. So what we're going to do here instead is we're going to say that this name change to Billy event is going to be this.nameChanged. So we're going to start with this one, and then we're going to send that to event.map. So this event.map function works very similar to the object.map function. So we create a function that takes as an input the event parameters in this case. So since we have the old and new objects or new names as parameters, those are the ones we get in. And then we need to tell it what do we actually want to return in place of this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say event parameters, and we're going to just focus on what the new name is. New name, like that. And we're going to transform this to uppercase, like this. After we've done that, what we're going to do, is send this to event.filter. Now, this function here that we need to provide is going to be our filter function. And in this case, we get name as an input parameter. So, because we're piping these, we're going to get this as our input, and that's going to be an uppercased string. So we're going to call that name, and you can see that it has type string. And what we're going to do with this is we're simply going to check. Whether this name is equal to uppercase Billy, like that. And if that's the case, then this new event will be raised, and we don't have to duplicate any of the other code. So I can show you, if I add down here a new listener, so we would then do the same thing that we had before, author, but instead of name change, we would have name change to Billy, like this, add, and then in the input here, instead of event parameters like we got before, we would get string now, because the type of this event is going to be string. We had a I-event of event parameters, as you can see here, and this one is I-event of string, because we take the two parameters that we had originally and just keep the first of them, which has the type string, as you can see here. So in the output here, we need to make it compatible with string. So name changed, and before we printed old and new name, we can simply remove all of this because we know that the name this time is going to be Billy if it's updated. So let's just do it like that, and to Billy, like this. Okay, so if I execute this now, we initially have a name of Dan, and we change it to Andy. So I would expect this event to get triggered, but not the last one. So let's just verify that quickly. And that's also the case. So we see name changed, old name Dan, new name Andy. That's this first listener that gets this one that gets triggered. If I now add a second renaming here, and I call him Billy instead, let's execute that and see what we get. And as we would expect, we get two name change events from our generic name change event listener. but we only get one from the Billy listener here, name change to Billy. So this is exactly what we would expect, and what I want you to take note of is how easily we were able to use events that we already created and modify them in a very flexible way. This is a very powerful tool, and it allows you to take events and really shape them. It also allows you to combine different events into a single one, and there's a lot of different functionalities you can check out. I'm going to link the documentation in the description, so if you want to check out some more of these event functions, you can do so, and then you can start experimenting with events. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.